Hot Springs Wellness Weekend. I'm so excited to have you all here. Whilst we're sad we can't be with you in person, doing this virtual online event just brings us so much joy to be able to reach more people and hopefully impact you in a great way, whether you're in lockdown or not. I am resident naturopath and nutritionist Freya, and today we will be going through the gut-mind connection. We will be talking about how our gut affects our mood. We will be talking about core factors to optimise gut health and what you can do to optimise your gut-mind connection. So excited to get into this with you. During consults throughout, all of these lockdowns, it's been such a primary conversation that patients have been coming to me with is, how can I support my mind? How can I support my gut? Everything seems a little bit out of whack. There is so much that you can do from the comfort of your own home to improve your gut, your mind, and the gut-mind connection. So let's get into it. So the gut center is ultimately the control center or the dashboard for our entire body. So this means if something's out of whack in the gut, it is very, very likely going to expand to our mind and to other systemic effects throughout the body as well. Now, I always like to say to patients, if you've had a gut-wrenching experience, I've had multiple and I'm sure you have too. So if you've been in a situation where, the situation, whether it's public speaking or some kind of social activity where you feel nauseous or that gut-wrenching sensation, you ever had butterflies in your stomach? We use these expressions for a reason. The gut and the gastrointestinal tract is sensitive to emotion. There's no doubt about it. We have an enteric nervous system. So we have a central nervous system and we have an enteric nervous system. And the enteric nervous system is located within our gut with neurons spanning out just like this. It sort of looks like a pair of lungs with little neurons fanning out everywhere. This enteric nervous system has a bidirectional communication channel. So bidirectional, I mean going up and going down with the brain. And this communication channel travels through the vagus nerve. Some of you might have heard about the vagus nerve, particularly for the yogis among us. There are some amazing yogic breathwork and hums that you can do to tone the vagus nerve, which is absolutely fantastic for enhancing your gut-mind connection. I'm sure there's a few people talking with you about breathwork and yogic work throughout this weekend, so you can pick up a few tips there, or just do a little Google on yogic humming or yogic breathwork. So essentially that is how the gut and the mind communicate. So there is an enteric nervous system, a central nervous system, a brain, and then the vagal nerve channel that communicates from there to there, and it goes bidirectionally. It's pretty simple, really. Ultimately, what provokes this communication channel from the gut to the brain is the bacteria located in the gut. Now, if something is out, you might have heard of the term dysbiosis or good and bad bacteria, those types of things. If there's an imbalance between good and bad bacteria, those nasty bacteria are going to be talking to the enteric nervous system. Enteric nervous system is going to be sending messages to the brain saying, hey, things are out of whack here, I can't quite do my job, I'm a bit inflamed, I'm not quite right. If you are experiencing an imbalance in good and bad bacteria, where your good bacteria can't fulfill their roles required for human health and a happy mood, it's very, very likely that your neurotransmitter, which are your happy and calming hormones that regulate your mood, it's very, very likely if you have an imbalance in your microbiome and your good and bad bacteria that your neurotransmitter production is going to be affected. So I'm going to name a few neurotransmitters for you just to familiarize yourself with them. So serotonin, happiness hormone, GABA, which reduces fear and anxiety. If we could all have GABA on a drip right now, I think the world would be a much happier place and a much calmer place. But hey, 80% of it is produced in our gut. So if we can look after our gut, we can produce heaps of that GABA. That's going to communicate with our brain and say, hey, brain, I'm happy and I'm calm. 20% of dopamine as well is actually produced in the gut as well. So dopamine is that pleasure and reward hormone. It's very closely connected with joy, happiness, but also with addiction if we have too much. So we don't want to produce too much, but just a lovely balance. Everything I talk about with patients is all about balance when it comes from talking about your diet, your lifestyle, your mindfulness practices. I'm not saying you have to go and become a yogic monk and meditate for 6 hours a day, but if you could find 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, I can assure you that you're going to experience a drastic improvement in the way you feel, and your gut-mind connection is just going to be enhanced, which really is the focus of today's talk. And I think, there's so much importance on this specific communication channel in our body, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic, when we are inundated with stresses and anxiety, uncertainty about the future, and often locked at home, not feeling motivated to stick with our normal, healthy, nourishing diet. So there is no better time to start optimizing both the brain, the mind, and the gut. Another key role that our gut is required for is actually absorbing and synthesizing nutrients. So if we are stressed, if we are in a fight or flight zone, which is a very, very primitive response, we have this fight or flight response when we are in a car and we hit a red light and we're late for work. Or if we leave the washing machine on and it leaks everywhere and you're in a fight or flight mode. Or if you have a fight with your partner, or any type of ongoing stress can put you in a fight or flight mode. Very, very beneficial in the short term, but not so beneficial in the long term. When we're in a constant fight or flight mode, our body, again, a really primitive response, redirects energy from the gastrointestinal tract function to our peripheral limbs so that we can literally run away from a tiger. Of course, in our modern day lives, we're not running away from a tiger. We're trying to get to work, we're running late, we're stressed out about the future of the world and those types of things. When our blood flow is redirected away from the gut and into the periphery, it means that our gastrointestinal functions downregulate. So our production of enzymes, stomach acid, and those types of things are all reduced. Those basic functions in our gut are absolutely essential for human health. Particularly with today's topic being the gut and the mind connection, if we can't break down our proteins are the building blocks for neurotransmitters that keep us healthy. We can't absorb the nutrients from our food to produce the neurotransmitters to keep us happy and calm as well. It's a really fascinating way to think about it, but anytime you're in that prolonged, heightened stress response, gastrointestinal function fully reduces. So even if we're eating the most gorgeous, beautiful, nourishing diet from the farmer's market or your backyard or wherever you source your fruit and veg from, if you're eating it whilst your stress response is activated, it does mean that your ability to break down the foods and absorb the gorgeous nutrients and proteins is going to be compromised. So whilst eating a beautiful, nourishing diet is absolutely essential, I speak about this a lot, it really is also essential to be calm and rested and ideally relaxed when we're eating our food. And don't get me wrong, I know that that's not always achievable, but for the most part, if you can sit and eat your food mindfully, you've got a far better chance of absorbing all of those gorgeous compounds to improve our gut-mind connection. Now, just another few little connections for you in terms of the gut and the mind and some pathologies and diagnosed conditions that are directly correlated with gut and mind. So if you think about IBS, 70 to 90% of IBS sufferers do have either diagnosed or undiagnosed anxiety, mood disorder, or depression. So it just kind of goes to show how connected the gut and the brain are. Alzheimer's, autism, obesity, diabetes are all having very strong connections in current research to an imbalanced microbiome. So I guess this just really highlights that the gut really is the control center and dashboard for our entire system. So looking after our beautiful gut and those gorgeous bacteria is totally essential for human health, but also keeping calm, happy, and feeling rested throughout a really tough couple of years for everybody. Also, just to highlight as well the importance of great bacterial diversity, there has been actually quite a lot of research testing conventional pharmaceutical medications such as diazepam against probiotics in terms of improving outcomes in mental health conditions. And not in all research, but in a significant amount of research, the probiotics were similar, if not superior, to some prescribed pharmaceuticals to enhance mental health. So of course I advise you to speak with your medical practitioner or naturopath integrative doctor should you wish to explore this further, but I'd just like to really highlight how profound optimizing your gut health, those profound effects that can have on your mind. And you can do this from home. I'm going to go through a gorgeous recipe shortly. So how the gut affects our mood. So our gut can influence our stress response, and that is because if we're not producing enough neurotransmitters in our gut, this means we don't have the appropriate neurotransmitters to elicit a healthy stress response, but also to produce calming, beautiful, relaxing neurotransmitters. I spoke just before about GABA and how we all need it on a drip. I would love that. However, what we can do is optimize our gastrointestinal function at all levels, and we can produce our own. No worries. Things like intestinal hyperpermeability or leaky gut are also associated with mood concerns, and of course inflammation. So I'm always talking about a gorgeous anti-inflammatory diet to feed the good bacteria to produce anti-inflammatory compounds. And each of these things, by improving them, is significantly going to help your gut-mind connection. You're probably wondering, okay, Freya, this all sounds very good and well, but how do I know if my gut is out of balance? Well, there's a few key symptoms that you can really look for that can help you to understand if something isn't quite right. Symptoms such as bloating. I mean, bloating after a large meal is not uncommon. However, if you're bloating frequently after most meals, if the bloating is becoming uncomfortable, that's certainly a sign that something isn't quite right. Alternating bowel motions, going from looser to firmer to slower bowels is also a sign that something's not quite right in there. Excessive gas, excessive flatulence, these are all normal, up to 10 times a day, but if things are getting really pronounced, offensive in odour, there's certainly something there that we need to look into. Reflux, burping frequently, nausea. And then outside of gastrointestinal symptoms, there are some more mental cognitive symptoms that I find really, really strong correlation with an imbalanced gut. And whilst they are broad and a little bit vague, I often find when I'm working with patients who have got something going on in their gut, more often than not, they are experiencing quite pronounced symptoms of brain fog or lethargy. So any of those things I've gone through, if you're going through those and going, yep, that's me, I guess this just gives you even more encouragement to try your best to get started on some of the tips and tricks I'm going through with you today. Healthy gut really starts in the home, so I hope you can get started right away. Now, we've gone through the symptoms and you're probably like, okay, yes, right, I've ticked a number of these, yep, that's me, but what's contributing to this? How did it happen? The list is really long, but I'll go through and synthesize just a couple of the main points that can impact these types of symptoms and this kind of dysbiosis that can take place in the gut. So one of the biggest ones is chronic antibiotic use, Now, if this is you, I don't want you to feel bad because, you know, they're quite commonly prescribed. We are starting to slow down the prescription of antibiotics these days, but they are very often prescribed as a first line of treatment for any type of infection. So antibiotics can really shuffle that balance of good and bad bacteria. So that's number one. Stress can significantly impact our microbial balance and the way that our gut functions. As I mentioned, how the stress response diverts blood flow to the periphery. The gastrointestinal tract during those moments literally gets hit with the pause button. So stress is profound, really, because we can't hold it or see it. Often it's dismissed, but it really is associated with many health conditions. So this is the time, if you're locked down and you're looking for something to invest your time into, building a beautiful meditation practice, breathwork practice, visualization practice, whatever resonates with you is going to be absolutely fantastic for now, post-lockdown and beyond. Reduced diversity in the diet can also contribute to imbalanced bacteria and unwanted compounds being produced. So what that means is if you're somebody who eats, you know, the same food, you've got your creature comforts every single day, you know, for the last year or so. I'm always talking about diversity. So what I mean by that is mixing up the coloured fruit and vegetable in your diet, buying something interesting you haven't bought before, going to the local farmer's market, seeing what they've got on offer, and just keeping it really diverse and exciting. The more diverse your diet, the more diverse of the beautiful anti-inflammatory compounds and polyphenols you'll get from these foods that are directly going to have impacts on producing happy, healthy bacteria, but also facilitating the growth of the bacteria you already have and keeping them alive and flourishing. So you might have highlighted that, yeah, okay, I've got a few things going on in my gut. Oh, yeah, okay, I can actually see perhaps how this has played out. Now you're probably wondering what you can do. This is the exciting part. It's not all doom and gloom. I work with this every day, and there is so much you can do right away to start enhancing your microbial diversity, reducing inflammation, and improving your gut-mind connection. So first thing I recommend is absolutely devoting some time to developing a mindfulness activity. This could be as simple as a breathwork practice. One in particular I love to use with patients, particularly patients that are flat out. They've got kids at home, they're doing home education, or they're working a high-level, high-stress job, even if it's from home, and they simply, at the moment, can't fathom putting away 30 minutes of their day. I'm like, okay, that's all right. Let's implement a breath practice that you can employ every time you get your cup of tea or your glass of water, or every time you go to the bathroom. So this is the 4, 7, 8 breath practice. So I'll run you through it. Very simple. You breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 7 seconds, breathe out for 8 seconds, repeat 3 times. We're looking at about 30 to 40 seconds here, and this is time that you can utilize whilst you're in the bathroom, getting your water, walking from one place to another. You can do it absolutely anywhere, and nobody needs to know you're doing it. Something as simple as connecting with your breath for that time at multiple time points throughout the day has an extremely significant impact on reducing the way that you respond to stress and also signaling to your body that you're not actually stressed. Very often we go through our work day or our home day and we take shallow breaths. They go to about here. They're sort of shallow like that. When we're taking shallow breaths like this, it's actually exerting a stress response in the body because we're unable to oxygenate our cells. So through taking deep breaths, when you find a moment, when you get to the end of the day, the total load of stress on your body is going to be significantly reduced. You're going to feel more in control. when your cells are oxygenated, and overall your response to stress is going to be far greater, and it is just so simple. 4, 7, 8 breath technique. You can also look it up if you forget. It's the most easy thing you can do to employ right away. On top of that, if you want to take it a step further, developing a mindfulness or a meditation practice that feels great for you. There's amazing resources online that don't cost a thing. Insight Time is one of my favorites. I do guided visualizations, yoga nidras, breathwork practices. You can go through, find somebody who resonates with you and just begin to employ this practice. It's not only going to help your gut-mind connection, but it's going to improve the way that you respond to modern day stresses, improve your relationships with your partner, your children, your family, improve your outlook on life. It knows no limit. So this is number 1, enhancing a mindfulness practice or breathwork practice that feels good for you. Of course, the diet as well really provides foundational fuel for your optimal gut health. So your digestive system really will heal from nourishing meals from healthy plants and animals that are prepared well to retain their nutrient content. Healing foods are going to build healthy enzymes to break down those foods, help to produce healthy digestive acids that are going to break down, assimilate and metabolize nutrients to produce those beautiful neurotransmitters, produce happy, healthy hormones and have you feeling fabulous. Your healthy, healing foods are going to restore your gut flora. They're going to promote diverse microbial balance and enhance, once again, digestion, absorption and elimination of foods. And of course, your gut microbiome and those beautiful bacteria are involved in the synthesis of your neurotransmitters, vitamins, minerals, and amazing other important anti-inflammatory substances that are just going to have you feeling fabulous in lockdown and beyond. If you've gone through all of these points and gone, yes, that's me, you've employed them and you're coming back to this video, there are always extra steps you can take. Feel confident to seek out support from an integrative doctor, your GP, whoever is your preferred care provider. And if you need to do a little bit of extra testing and fishing around, there's some fantastic functional tests available for you. But today we're really talking about actionable steps that you can make today to improve your gut-brain connection. So I'd just like to go through the primary takeaways you can get started on right away. So what I would love you to start thinking about, of course, is developing your mindfulness practice, even for 5 minutes a day or 30 to 40 seconds per day times 3. That's under 2 minutes of breath work, or your mindfulness practice, or doing your little yoga nidra meditation at night, whatever resonates with you. That's number 1. Trying your best to reduce inflammatory foods. Now, you can do a quick research online as to Anti-Inflammatory Diet and you'll find heaps of resources. But essentially what it means is just reducing processed foods as much as you can and coming back to basics, to whole foods in their whole original form. Enjoying a diet rich in pre and probiotics. So my favourites are yogurts, coconut yogurt with added beneficial bacteria, sauerkraut, I love, kimchi, I love. I'm loving at the moment these just gorgeous seed crackers, avocado, kimchi, a little bit of hot sauce, delicious. You can use it however you like, in salads, with eggs, options are limitless. Prebiotics, my favourite at the moment, if you are located in the southern part of Australia, Jerusalem artichokes are in season. They're everywhere, they're cheap, they're gorgeous. Roast them up till they're crunchy and just absolutely amazing prebiotic. Try not to eat too much because you might notice a few little unwanted symptoms there. Another recommendation in terms of taking action on your gut-brain health today as well is having a little think about the clean 15 and the dirty dozen. This is an amazing resource. It is produced in America annually. However, it's a fantastic insight into the most highly sprayed fruit and vegetables, and the best fruit and vegetables that you can buy conventionally that have less spray on them. So for example, top sprayed fruit and vegetables, the top two are kale and strawberries. So if you're in that transition of going, I can't quite fully go all organic right now, having a look at this guide is absolutely fantastic at just starting to make that shift and reduce your overall load of pesticide and getting more nutrients out of those foods that you do eat. So that's the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen guide. Urge you to look it up. Really fantastic place to start. I also recommend a little challenge for you. I've done this once before, and don't get me wrong, it is a bit of a challenge. However, it's a fantastic, very insightful challenge to try. So there's recent research has gone to say, if you can eat 40 plus different whole, minimally processed plant foods per week, you are going to skyrocket your bacterial diversity and enhance your production of anti-inflammatory compounds and optimize your gut-brain connection. So my challenge for you is, over the course of a week, whether it's in the notes in your phone or your little notebook, is jot down every single different plant food you eat. So, you know, I'm very fortunate to have a farmer's market close by, so I'm always picking up the brightest coloured, weird, wonderful little things just to keep my diet really diverse. If you don't have a farmer's market close by, no worries. Go to your local supermarket and just start exploring with new fruit and vegetables that you haven't tried before. My other favourite little tip to get this up is plant food. So seeds are a plant food. So I've got a little jar in my kitchen, just next to the stove, and in it I've got pepita, sesame seed, sunflower seed, nuts. I think there's a few other things in there, but I've given them a little toast, chopped them up, and they're in a jar with a lid. And whenever I have eggs or a salad, I just get a few tablespoons and sprinkle it over. Oh, there's some hemp seeds in there too. And that has just pushed up my plant foods by about 10. There's about 10 different nuts and seeds in there for the week. So you're already a quarter of the way there. So I urge you to try this little challenge, jot it down, see what number you get up to, and then the week after, try to hit 40. It's good, it's fun, it's exciting. If you have children, it's fantastic to get them involved, and just a great little project to try during lockdown. A lot to go through, but I really hope that this lecture has given you some insight and information in terms of how important your gut-brain connection is, how to detect whether you might have a little bit of an imbalance in between your gut and your brain. If you're starting to feel a little bit more anxious or a little bit more worried than normal, your gut's playing up a little, it's very, very likely that there is something going on there that you can balance out with many of the tips we've gone through today. So excited to take you through the Gut Healing Smoothie as well, so that you can get started away on a beautiful, nourishing recipe to support your gut and your brain, and of course, your whole body during lockdown. I look forward to you coming over and following along with me. Hi everybody, welcome to my kitchen. I hope you enjoyed the conversation we had on the gut-mind connection, the science behind it, debunking and breaking down a lot of processes that are often really hard to understand. So I hope this allowed you to have a better understanding of how the gut-mind connection works and what you can do to start improving yours right away. Now, over to the most exciting part of the presentation is the kitchen and how to start improving your gut-mind connection right away with a gorgeous gut healing smoothie. Originally, I had made and developed a recipe for this talk today, but 2 days ago, spring sunshine was popping in, the flowers were starting to bloom, and I thought, you know what? I think that smoothie was it was a little bit rich, and I want to give people a little pep in their step and a little zip about their day. So I have reformulated the recipe with some lemon and some mint, gorgeous fresh mint from my garden. I just picked this about 30 minutes ago. Smells heavenly, and it's really going to enhance your smoothie. Just give you a little bit of that kick and energy and pep that we are all needing at the moment. So let's get into it. I'm going to take you through each of the ingredients, give you a little bit of a rundown of how they're great for your gut, your mind, and your general health. And we're going to make the smoothie and enjoy it together. So let's go. First of all, I have a trusty NutriBullet. So any type of blender you have will be quite essential for this recipe. So get your NutriBullet out. Also, I have got half a cup of gorgeous frozen berries. We spoke about the clean 15 and the dirty dozen in our talk. Just on that, if you want to go back, re-watch the talk and take notes, I highly encourage you do that. It's going to be super, super helpful for just ingraining all of that learning and enabling you to get started on making some healthy changes right away. So I spoke about the green 15, clean 15 and the dirty dozen. Berries are one of those that if you are able to get organic or pesticide free, I highly recommend it. I got these from supermarket, organic, so we've just got half a cup of mixed berries today. I've got blueberries and raspberries. These are going to fulfill your polyphenol needs to feed your good bacteria. They can produce amazing anti-inflammatory compounds, absolutely fantastic. They're not too high in sugars, they're going to keep our energy balanced and feed our good bacteria in a beautiful way. So half a cup of those. What I also have here is half a cup of coconut yogurt. So this specific coconut yogurt is the Nakula brand. You can get whatever is available to you, but I just want you to make sure you check the back of the container or the front and just make sure that they've inoculated probiotics into there, because that, obviously coconut's really fantastic for the gut, but it's the probiotics they've inoculated in there which are going to be really fantastic for this gut healing smoothie. So I've got about a heaped tablespoon there. So I've got the half cup of frozen berries, heaped tablespoon of coconut yogurt. The probiotics in the coconut yogurt are going to add in new beneficial bacteria to our gut, which is absolutely needed at this time, particularly if you feel like you have a bit of a gut imbalance or you went through those symptoms I said and you feel something isn't quite right. Re-inoculating with good bacteria is absolutely paramount. So make sure you've got those good bacteria strains on the container when you go to the supermarket. So it looks like normal yogurt. It's delicious. If you've never tried coconut yogurt, fantastic. We also spoke about that diversity of the gut, and a really amazing way to do that is by enhancing your plant compounds. So if you're willing to take on that challenge of 40 plant foods per week, which I really, really endorse. I've done it myself and I highly recommend you do it. Great thing to do, like I said, was grind up some seeds, heat them by the stove or your cooking bench or wherever you are so that you can just sprinkle them liberally over your food. So today I've got flaxseed. So we've got about a tablespoon of flaxseed. In this recipe you can use any seed you like. But these would be quite lovely. I had flaxseed in the fridge. They're a fantastic it's totally fine, but if you have it and it's sitting there at the back of the pantry, I urge you to pull it out. So I've got this gorgeous by Beth collagen here, which I adore. It's got some native Australian ingredients in it just to give it a little bit of flavour and a bit more vitamin C. Any collagen's fine. My main advice on collagen is that you source a grass-fed collagen. Obviously, if you're vegetarian or pescatarian, there are marine sources of collagen, or you can just omit it altogether if you're vegetarian. I love collagen because it has a full amino acid and protein profile, which is absolutely essential for neurotransmitter production. Neurotransmitters keep us calm, happy, and in control. They're really fantastic for optimizing that gut-brain connection. But of course, proteins are also required for every single cellular function in the body. Our immune system, our skin cells. Collagen, yes, Also fantastic for fine lines and things like that, but great for gut repair and great to provide the building blocks for our neurotransmitters. So we're going to use a tablespoon of that in the smoothie today. Like I said, if you don't have any at home, it's absolutely fine. The recipe will still be gorgeous without it. Squeeze of lemon. Gorgeous. I mean, this was for spring, really. I wanted to add this in to give you all a little zip in your step and a spring in your step, to have a really uplifting, beautiful smoothie that was still going to be really therapeutic for the gut, calming for the mind, but zippy and energetic too. Finally, in here I have got infusing some gorgeous chamomile and peppermint tea. So this is going to make the liquid portion of the smoothie today. And the reason why I chose these two specific flavours is because chamomile is an absolutely gorgeous, in naturopathic medicine we call it a carminative, and we also call it a very mild sedative. So if you have any trouble sleeping, one of my favourite recommendations to get started on right away, utilising what you've got in the kitchen cupboard, is make a very strong chamomile tea. And I mean so strong that it doesn't taste so pleasant, but the powerful effects of the herbal constituents are just so amazing for sleep and calming the nervous system. So I've actually had this tea brewing since this morning. So brewing for the last 3 hours. It's got a mix of chamomile and peppermint. Peppermint is incredible at calming a grumbly tummy. So really fantastic if you're just feeling uncomfortable, bloated, unsettled, you're nervous or you're anxious and that's transferring to your gut. It's going to have a beautiful calming effect for you. So if you've got chamomile or peppermint or both, fantastic. I'm going to use about half a cup of the tea as the liquid component of this smoothie. Okay, let's get into it. So this is going to make enough for about a small glass, like an afternoon snack, mid-morning snack. If you're wanting more of a feeling nourishing meal, I'd recommend maybe doubling the recipe or tripling it if you're making it for friends and family. Okie doke. So just to go over the ingredients again if you didn't catch them, we've got about that half cup of berries here. Like I said, organic or spray-free is ideal. We've got that 1 tablespoon of flaxseed. You can omit this for any other seed that you like. This is just what I had on hand at the moment. And this is that beautiful prebiotic for the gut. We've got the coconut yogurt that I spoke about, and just reminding you to make sure there are probiotics inoculated in it. You will see this on the container when you purchase it from the shop. Got that yummy squeeze of lemon for that zip and go that we all need at the moment. Just a good squeeze is good. This absolutely divine mint from my garden. I don't know if you all have a vegetable garden, but I feel very lucky to have this beautiful garden that is just, I've got mint coming out my ears, so I had to get it in this smoothie somehow. And thankfully it does have gorgeous therapeutic benefits. As I spoke with the tea, it's really calming an overactive or a grumbly tummy. So I'm putting about 5 large mint leaves in there. Then we have the chamomile and peppermint tea I've had steeping for a few hours. We're going to put about half a cup in there. And then finally we've got the gorgeous collagen. So this is really fantastic for healing your epithelial cells within the gut if they're inflamed or damaged. Also providing protein to produce neurotransmitters, hydrating our skin, and ultimately just giving everything a beautiful boost. Like I said, if you don't have any collagen, absolutely fine. You can leave it out. The recipe will still be delicious. Popping the lid on, pop it in the NutriBullet and off we go. Beautiful. Let's see how that turned out. Get a little glass. Give that a little tap. I hope you've loved this wellness weekend as much as I have. It's been so fun putting all of this together for you. There's just so much that you can do in the home to improve your gut-brain connection. It's not been an easy time, and I really wish you all the best. I hope you loved the lecture, and I hope